California is completely unaware of the tidal wave that is about to hit its shores as Alex Eala heads toward Indian Wells. This tournament is currently seeing a historic and massive mobilization from the Filipino community. Entire stadium sections are being bought out in bulk, tickets are vanishing instantly, and the tournament directors are left in total disbelief at the spectacle unfolding. What is often called the fifth Grand Slam is on the verge of a total cultural overhaul. Do you believe Alex Eala has what it takes to reach the semifinals at Indian Wells this year? Furthermore, do you think the Filipino community in California will become the loudest and most passionate crowd this tournament has ever witnessed? Go ahead and drop your predictions in the comments section below. We need to take a deep dive into what is actually happening in California right now because this movement is far too significant to be summarized in a simple social media post. Alex Eala has officially secured her spot in the main draw of the BNP Paribas Open at Indian Wells. She did not get there through qualifiers or a wild card, and it is not just because she is ranked number 31 in the world. She skyrocketed from 137 to 31 in just 1 year, earning a reputation that has the entire tennis world talking. She pulled off massive victories against Jasmine Paolini in the Miami Open semifinals and the Dubai quarterfinals, when her opponent was ranked number 8 in the world with a score of 176. Her resume now includes a gold medal from the Southeast Asian Games, a main draw debut at the Australian Open, a semifinal run in Auckland, and a quarterfinal finish in Abu Dhabi. She fought tooth and nail to earn her place at Indian Wells, and that is the only way that truly counts in this sport. Since her entry was confirmed, the organizers have been stunned while tracking the unprecedented surge in ticket sales and hospitality bookings. They are genuinely breathless at the data they are seeing. It should come as no surprise, given that the largest Filipino diaspora in the United States calls California home. The state is home to a massive, highly organized, and sports-crazy Filipino-American community that has been waiting for this exact moment, right in their own backyard. They finally have a player representing the Philippines competing at the absolute highest level of international tennis. She is not just competing, she is winning, shattering records, and being hailed as the biggest draw in the sport by former top 10 professionals. Her image was even featured at the Nike World Headquarters in Oregon, accompanied by the powerful phrase, "History in full bloom." The Filipino community in California has answered the call in a way that the Indian Wells Tennis Garden has never experienced in its history. This is the perfect storm of elite athletic performance meeting deep cultural significance. Fan clubs from Daly City, San Diego, and Los Angeles are coordinating massive group reservations to ensure they are there in force. Local community organizations are booking out entire stadium blocks to create the same deafening wall of sound that turned Dubai into a massive Filipino celebration. That incredible energy even forced Coco Gauff to pause and acknowledge the crowd after her hard-fought victory over Eala in the quarterfinals. Secondary market ticket prices for the days when Eala is scheduled to play have already skyrocketed far beyond their original face value. Reports indicate that some seats are being resold for double their initial price. The commercial arm of the tournament was simply not prepared for a player ranked 31st in the world to generate this level of market demand. This is the undeniable economic reality of the Eala impact, finally arriving on American soil. To put things in perspective, Indian Wells is widely known as the fifth Grand Slam, a title that is well-earned and respected. In 2026, the prize pool exceeds $9 million. Every single titan of women's tennis is present on the courts. Aryna Sabalenka, a powerhouse with multiple Grand Slam titles, and the current world number 1, stands alongside the reigning champion Mirra Andreeva and the formidable Iga Swiatek. With stars like Coco Gauff and Jessica Pegula also in the mix, the entry list reads like a definitive who is who of the tennis elite. At a prestigious event of this magnitude, these legends have spent years building the reputations and performance levels that justify prime court assignments and premium ticket prices. Then there is Alex Eala, currently holding the rank of number 31 in the world. She sits right in the heart of that elite list. Yet she is drawing more ticket demand from a single community than many household names are from the general public. That is a bold statement to make, representing a total disruption of the traditional business logic in professional tennis, and it is unfolding right before our eyes. 24. The first major milestone on the journey to this moment took place in Beaverton, Oregon. Eala made a strategic visit to the Nike World headquarters before making her way down to California. The reception she received there set a powerful tone for everything she is expected to accomplish at Indian Wells. Her portraits were already showcased in the legendary Nike Tunnel, placed alongside the greatest athletes the brand has ever represented. One specific portrait captured her iconic reaction after reaching the Miami semifinals, showing her face cradled in both hands. Her tears represented the raw, unfiltered emotion of an athlete who has just achieved something that surpassed even her own highest expectations. Nike is intentional with every word they use, which is why they chose the caption, "History in Full Bloom," for her display. A photograph of Eala taking a selfie with her Filipino fans was also prominently featured in the tunnel, highlighting Nike's grasp of why this partnership is so powerful. They are making a long-term investment in the massive community that follows this athlete wherever she competes on the globe. It is about more than just the individual player. By showcasing that fan photo at their global headquarters, the brand is proving that this narrative goes beyond personal trophies. With a fan base that spans the entire globe, this has evolved into a cultural movement that is shifting the economic landscape of every tournament she enters. And her trip to Oregon was perfectly timed. The goal was to give herself every possible advantage to prepare for the unique environmental conditions at Indian Wells. Eala touched down in the United States early to acclimate, knowing that the California desert creates a very specific and challenging playing environment. The air is incredibly dry, and the altitude significantly changes how the ball travels through the air, compared to her recent matches in the Middle East and Oceania. The courts here have a different feel. By arriving well before the European contingent, she has been able to master the time zone and get a feel for the surface. In a tournament where every single player in the bracket is performing at an elite level, these small tactical margins are what decide the outcome. She has the advantage of 7 years of elite training. Her time at the Rafa Nadal Academy provided her with a foundation built on grueling preparation and an unbreakable work ethic. You can see that discipline in the way she approaches every single tournament. She never just shows up the day before, hoping for a lucky break. She plans every move with precision and prepares herself for every possible scenario she might face on the court. That level of intentional preparation is exactly what her early arrival in America and her high-profile visit to Nike headquarters represent. It is impossible to overstate how much her long-term growth is aided by entering Indian Wells as a top 30 seed rather than having to fight through qualifiers. Those who have to play through the qualifying rounds arrive at the main draw having already survived several high-stakes, exhausting matches. These players often carry a heavy burden of physical and mental exhaustion. Last year in Miami, Eala pulled off a miraculous feat by grinding through the qualifiers all the way to the semifinals. While impressive, that journey forced her to play significantly more matches under intense pressure than any of the elite opponents she ultimately defeated. This year, at Indian Wells, the narrative has shifted because she arrives completely refreshed and recharged. After a 2-week recovery period following her run in Dubai, she enters the States with a massive psychological edge that no practice session could ever provide. There is a profound internal shift that occurs when you walk through the halls of the most famous athletic brand on the planet and see your own face. Seeing your image displayed alongside the names that define sporting excellence gives an athlete a level of self-belief that is truly untouchable. Make no mistake, the competition in this draw is absolutely fierce and unforgiving. For several years, Sabalenka has dominated the circuit as one of the most powerful and feared forces in the women's game. Swiatek remains a master of the court, having maintained her grip on the world #1, ranking through pure consistency and skill. Then there is Andreeva, who enters the tournament with the confidence of a reigning champion. In a field this deep, Any player is capable of toppling a giant if they catch fire on the right day. However, the real story at Indian Wells is not just about whether she can take down the world number one in her opening set. When a player with her specific profile, massive fan base, and psychological momentum enters the draw, the conversation fundamentally changes. It becomes about the unfolding drama and the unique energy that builds over the course of 2 grueling weeks. In the coming days, anyone standing across the net from her will have to contend with thousands of passionate Filipino fans. This will create a wall of sound and a level of intensity that the early rounds of this tournament have rarely, if ever, witnessed. Every event so far in 2026 has validated the claims made by Sam Querrey and Steve Johnson regarding Eala's massive drawing power. The crowds in Auckland were nothing short of spectacular and set a high bar for the season. They shattered attendance records in Melbourne, and the atmosphere she generated in Abu Dhabi was absolutely electric. Even Coco Gauff took a moment in Dubai to thank the Filipino supporters for fundamentally changing the energy of the entire stadium. But California exists on a completely different level of magnitude compared to those other stops. This local Filipino community is not just a group of tourists who decided to take a quick trip for the weekend. This is a massive, well-established diaspora that has been waiting with bated breath since her breakout run in Miami last year. The tournament organizers, who are reportedly stunned by the ticket frenzy, are not just looking at a temporary spike in interest. They are witnessing a fundamental structural shift in the demographics of who is attending their event and why. This represents a significant and permanent evolution in the makeup of the tennis-going public. For decades, American tennis has struggled to break into diverse communities and attract new, younger audiences. Without a corporate marketing blitz or an outreach strategy, Alex Eala achieved that goal in a single season through pure talent and character. Thousands of fans descending on the desert will impact every single financial aspect of the tournament, from food vendors to official merchandise. The arrival of thousands of Filipino supporters in the California desert will leave a lasting mark on every single commercial aspect of the tournament. This influence stretches across everything from the local food vendors to the massive official merchandise operations. It will be felt in the hospitality suites, the parking logistics, and the very heart of the tennis matches themselves. The skyrocketing ticket prices on the secondary market represent a massive influx of capital into the Indian Wells ecosystem from a demographic that was not previously a primary driver of this economic activity. Furthermore, she will definitely not be standing alone when she steps onto the court for her highly anticipated tournament debut. Behind her will stand a formidable wall of white, red, and blue, and she will hear her name cheered with an intensity that most players at her rank have never experienced. Every opponent she faces will likely feel like they are the visiting team once they step into the high-energy environment she commands. In the Philippines, Eala already has to navigate a level of fame comparable to a legend like Michael Jordan. According to Kim Kleisters, she is about to discover exactly what it feels like to have that massive celebrity energy transported directly onto American soil in California. On March 4th, Indian Wells officially kicks off, and in many ways, the long countdown has finally come to an end. The fans have secured their bookings, and the sections are fully reserved. The local community is incredibly well organized and ready. As Alex Eala arrives fresh from Oregon with the full weight of Nike's support and a career-high ranking, she is prepared to step onto those iconic purple courts and achieve something that has never been witnessed in the history of this prestigious tournament. Every single player in the draw who finds themselves scheduled to compete against Eala will soon understand exactly what Coco Gauff felt in Dubai, as the 5th Grand Slam takes on an entirely new and electrified energy. It is one thing to prepare for a match against her as a singular talented athlete. It is a completely different challenge to compete against her and the collective spirit of the Filipino community. Nike is standing firmly behind her as she heads to Indian Wells with her highest ranking to date. The entire Filipino population in California is ready to turn that desert stadium into a cultural spectacle, the likes of which this event has never seen before. This is shaping up to be the most thrilling and culturally significant Grand Slam caliber event in the history of the sport.